So you move to Japan to live your best life. Your wallet is on life supply. Your rent, transport, your food, everything. And sometimes you even think, am I going to turn on my heater in January? Ooh, that's gonna sting a little bit. But you don't want that. You don't want to live that kind of life. You don't want to live that kind of life. To always live from paycheck to paycheck. No, that's not the best. But here's the thing. I'm right here today. I'm gonna teach you how to save money living right here in Japan. I'm not gonna give any motivational speaking here and okay, do this, you have to be strong, you have to discipline. No, no, no. Excuse me to use the word. Fuck that. Let's talk about real stuff, real evidence, real data, real stuff on how to save when you're living here, right here in Japan. And as a foreigner, if you want to visit, or if you plan to move here and you're thinking, how much can I save at the end of the month? Is it possible? You can be in Tokyo and still save. I have so many colleagues, so many friends that I've worked with, and they all complain. Why isn't I'm able to like save money at the end of the month? And I ask myself, what are they doing wrong? Sometimes when we sit down, we have discussions and conversations. I listen to them patiently. I'm like, oh, okay. Well, one thing about me, I listen and I don't judge. Yes. So I'm going to teach you simple tricks that nobody will ever tell you living right here in Japan what you have to do in order to save money. Hey, I'm Michael. I live in Japan and I work here in Japan. I've made so many financial mistakes ever since I moved here. But this was in the beginning, my first few months living right here in Japan. Japan can be very expensive. I'll be honest with you. It can be very, very expensive. Rent, transport, konbini, all these things, they take a lot of cash. Now, what if there is a way to understand the system that goes in your favor? I'm going to teach you how the system works right here in Japan. So the first trick is tame your rent. Your rent can be it can be crazy out here in Japan. Rent is something that if you're not very careful, you'll be paying so much that it takes over between 60 to 80% of your salary at the end of the month. You don't want to have that. Now the trick with renting here in Japan is that you're looking for apartments that you don't have to necessarily pay for key money because that's quite a lot. So your key money is pretty much going to be almost paying a double of your rent, or if possible, it could probably be a lot of money. This reminds me of my first time when I was moving to Japan. I had to pay over 120,000 for the first 2 months. Sometimes you ask yourself a question like, how are you going to come up with that money? But well, if you prepare yourself well early on, you'll know what to do. So one, try to find a place where you don't necessarily have to pay for key money. You don't also have to pay for agent fee. So there are places where you can find apartments where you don't necessarily have to pay for that. Also, one trick is that you have to, please, don't live too close to the train station. There's a trick right here. Now, you want to live in places like Shinjuku, Shibuya, Umeda, Osaka. Like you want to be close to like the big hubs and all that. But then you look at yourself first and then try to gauge, okay, well, how much am I making? Can I afford this and then still save and live the best life I want to live? Now, living close to the station is a plus. Now, my best advice is that you can rent a place that is 10 minutes or 20 minutes walk from the station. 10 minutes or 20 minutes walk from the station. Now, if it's too difficult for you to walk or to maybe like ride a bike, trust me, it's also part of exercising. Because how long is it? 10 minutes, 20 minutes walk to the train station. It's not too far. I do that all the time. I walk roughly 7 minutes to my train station. And imagine if I live close to the train station, I'll be paying twice as much as I'm paying right now. The next hint, destroy the konbini habit. Konbini, is a very interesting place where you might think it's not too expensive or that is cheap, or maybe go over there anytime I want to buy anything quick. So the name is just convenient. It's just convenient. Like it's a convenient place for everything. You don't want to rely on that all the time. So now, yeah, do the math, right? You go to konbini every evening for dinner, spending between 1,000 and 1,005 every evening. Now multiply that by what? 30 days. That's like 30,000 or more, depending on what you get. And konbini is such that when you go over there thinking, okay, well, I want to go get just a cup of coffee, you end up buying more than what you actually even need. So the best thing is avoid konbini. The best places to go and shop are these big malls or big shops like Yaks or Gyom Super. These places they sell cheap stuff, and then sometimes they also have promotions or discounts. Usually, usually between 7 and 8 p.m. If you're shopping around these times, trust me, you're gonna get good prices for vegetables, for meat, and for all kind of stuff that you want to buy. The next hint or the next trick is to outsmart the train system right here in Japan. Now, Japan has a very interesting train system, like a train system, right? It's so sophisticated. It's very simple, but it's a little bit sophisticated. I did a few research about that, and I think I'll try and make a video about it maybe someday in the near future. But the train system kind of like it started many years ago, way back, even before many other countries began to start having railways and all that. Also, please don't forget to subscribe. If you're liking it, if you're enjoying it, please don't forget to subscribe and then share with your friends. Now, back to understanding or outsmarting the train system. Now, when you're not very careful, you'll be spending a lot of money just on transport right here in Japan. Because trains are convenient. They are like everywhere you want to go, you can just hop on one and then it gets you right to your destination. Now, the trick is that the most important thing to get, if you're using the same route every day from home to work, the same route that requires the same train line, my advice for you is to get a commuter pass. Now, let's say you always move from your house to work. Let's say maybe you're living in Chiba and then you work somewhere in Shinjuku. So you only need Chiba Station, Shinjuku Station. These are your train stops. You don't necessarily have to do any transfers. Now, the best thing right here is get a commuter pass that takes you from Chiba Station to Shinjuku Station. That is it. And most of the times, the commuter passes are very like there's a discount on it. So you pay a big sum of money, and then you'll be able to like kind of like reduce the amount of money you'll be paying on a daily basis. If you can ride bikes, or if you love to walk, take a walk. That's another way to also save money on transport. You don't necessarily have to do it every day, but at least once a while. But then if you can get a bike, it helps. It gets you exercising, moving your legs, and also and avoid unnecessary transfers. Now, you want to go somewhere and then you have two or three transfers. Look on your map, look for ones that are less transfers. Maybe like one transfer is enough that can easily get to your place and then you can take a short walk. Transfers, the moment you're changing from one place to another and then you have to exit and then scan again, there's a slight increase in the fare from where you're going again to the next place. Now, this is where the trick is because if you're moving on the straight or direct rail or direct train, you don't necessarily have to transfer anywhere. But then if you're transferring and changing routes, that's where you'll be paying a little bit of the fare begins to go up just bit by bit. But you're not seeing it, you're not feeling it. But at the end of the day, if you calculate all that together, that's a lot of money you're letting go. The next hint is to use cards. So when I say cards, I'm talking about cashless cards. An example is maybe if you have a credit card and you have point cards, you have D point. There are so many cards around that you can necessarily just easily apply for. There's Docomo card, Rakuten card. You're able to apply for these cards. anytime you go to any of these shops that have a link or they have a kind of like a collaboration with these cards, you get a discount. Most of the time, you probably even get a point. I just probably maybe like so many points for just shopping. At the end of the month, you can accumulate all these points and then even spend that on something that you necessarily maybe need. So if you're going to spend money, why don't you spend money and then get points out of it? Does that not make sense? Let that sink in. Also, eat like a local, not like a tourist. See, when tourists come to Japan, most of them are so happy. Wow, Japan is so nice. Japan is very cheap. Japan is like, ooh, like it's like a dream. They're living in the dream, right? But if you're a resident, it's a different ballgame altogether. Now, the reason I'm saying that is that for foreigners, well, the moment they come in, they have a budget. Like, okay, well, I'm gonna spend 1,000 USD, or I'm gonna spend like 100,000 Japanese yen. So they can buy stuff that they don't necessarily need, or that they can just be shopping for stuff because, well, this is cheap, or oh, this is very cheap compared to my country. But the moment you're living in Japan, it's a different thing. So I try as much as possible to look at how most of my Japanese friends behave, or where they eat, or the things they buy, or how they shop, or how they do so many stuff. I learn from them, and I'm able to pick up, okay, well, I don't necessarily have to go. I don't necessarily have to spend on this because this is not something I need. So I learn and I add it to my life. So please just try to learn some few things from the Japanese people because they hardly also spend. I have a friend who doesn't even go for lunch. They go and just get a cup of noodles, and then add hot water to it and just consume it. But for a foreigner, we want to like, okay, well, I want to go to a restaurant. I want to go to this sushi restaurant, and then it's something fancy. I mean, where we going with that? How much of a fancy life do we want to live? So the next one is entertainment without going broke. Well, see, Japan is one of the badass places you can ever want to live in. Like, so much fun in this country that if you're not very careful, you will never work. Like, there are parks, there are amusement parks. There are so many interesting things in Japan. The food, the culture, everything here is like rich. In If you're not very careful, you end up just wanting to go out each and every single day. The clubs, the bars, everywhere is popping. Tokyo is just around the corner. Shinjuku is just around here. Every place is popping. Now, you can still have fun. You can still enjoy life to the best of my knowledge. You don't necessarily have to go to bars every weekend. You don't necessarily have to be drinking every weekend. Now, what do? There are parks. There are free parks almost everywhere in Japan. In Tokyo, there are so many free parks. You can just go out there, enjoy nature. There are parks that you don't only need to even pay 100 yen for. Just go in and then just enjoy as many hours you want to stay in for. Drinking. If you're fond of drinking, my best advice is you can buy from konbini and then just drink at home. It's so much fun rather than going out there and then spending on drinks that you don't necessarily have to. And at the end of the day, what you look at your wallet, okay, oh shit, I shouldn't have done that. I shouldn't have spent on this. I shouldn't have gone out last week. I shouldn't have gone on last 2 weeks. I shouldn't have bought this dress. I shouldn't have bought this. You don't want that kind of life. You don't want to be living, I shouldn't have, I shouldn't have, I shouldn't have. I want to live, oh, well, I had fun. This was great. I think I should do it again. I have enough money to do that. Yes. So the last part is build a system because Japan, if you want to move, you have to move with the system and how the system works in Japan. So build a system that works mainly for you. Okay, build a system that works mainly for. Avoid unnecessary traps. Avoid as many unnecessary traps as you can. And at the end of the day, I promise you, try all these things I've said in the maybe next month or the next coming month or whichever day that you feel comfortable trying. Build a system for yourself. Avoid certain things that you don't necessarily need. Oh, I forgot to add this one. The 100 yen shops. These places can drain you a lot. If you buy 10 stuff, it's going to cost you 1,000 100. Why 100? There's tax involved on each item that you purchased. So let that sink in. Also have a goal as you are here. Give your savings a purpose. Trip inside Japan. Pay off debts and create an emergency fund. When your money has a mission, it's easy to run your life anyhow you want it. If you're enjoying this video, kindly please click the like button, click the subscribe button if you haven't done yet. That's how you support the channel. And I'll see you in the next one. Have a good day.